Today is March 10th, 2016. It's on Thursday, and on Saturday, the Northern Marianas Island is going to have their caucus or primary for the Democrats. It's a closed caucus. They have 11 total delegates that they're passing out. 6 democratically elected delegates, the so-called pledged delegates, and 5 super aristocratic delegates. So 5 super delegates out of the Northern Marianas Islands actually has more power than any one of you assholes, Americans, all you citizens. Y'all just voting for these people, right? So 5 of these super fucking trooper pooper duper, pricks. Fuck the super fucking delegates. But they get a free ride. They get straight to the convention. They ain't got to win any election. They've already been. The Northern Marianas Islands, they are officially known as the Commonwealth of Northern Mariana Islands, CNMI, Chamorro. It's one of the 5 inhabited American insular areas. So it's a territory, it's a U.S. territory, one of the 2 territories in the U.S. with a Commonwealth status. So it's the Commonwealth. It's the Northern Mariana Islands, so don't get it confused with the Southern Mariana Islands. It's the Northern Mariana Islands, but it's the Commonwealth, okay? Kentucky is a Commonwealth. Actually, there's a lot of U.S. states that's a Commonwealth. Kentucky is one, Virginia is another, Pennsylvania and Massachusetts. These are all Commonwealths. And it's kind of, the explanation for that is weird, but first I want to finish, it's Guam. Marianas and Guam are like sisters. Together they comprise the Marianas Archipelago. So Guam. So the Chamorros is actually the Native Americans that the Spaniards had encountered. They called them the Chamorros, which I'm not for sure exactly what Chamorro means. But they're, of course, just like most of the United States, there's Native Americans, and then they just take them over. And a great story, actually, Ferdinand Magellan, he eventually lands on nearby Guam, claims the islands for Spain. So Ferdinand Magellan in 1521 lands on nearby Guam, claims the islands for Spain. The Spanish ships were met offshore by native Chamorros who delivered refreshments and then helped themselves to a small boat belonging to Magellan's fleet. This led to a cultural clash in Chamorro tradition. There was little private property, and taking something one needed, such as a boat for fishing, was not considered stealing, but the Spanish were pissed. So after the Chamorros took Ferdinand Magellan's boat, the Spanish started killing a whole bunch of the Chamorros, and then eventually they got the boat back. But then 3 days after he had been welcomed on the island, Ferdinand Magellan fled the archipelago. So Guam, Northern Marianas Islands are together. They're basically twin sisters. And since, where it's at, it's north of Indonesia, it's north of Australia, it's off the south east of Japan, in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, so it's farther than Hawaii. Guam and the Northern Marianas Islands is like Hawaii's Hawaii. It's very close. It's much closer to the Asian mainland than what Hawaii is. Now get back to the Commonwealth. Virginia, Massachusetts, some other state, Kentucky. So the Chamorro people are the indigenous peoples of the Mariana Islands. And it's kind of crazy, actually. It's not crazy, but there's significant Chamorro populations that exist in Hawaii, California, Washington, Texas, Tennessee, Oregon, and Nevada. So the Chamorro people have... they have infiltrated the mainland. No, I'm kidding. But they've actually been able to immigrate here because they were genocided and wiped out and rounded up into camps when some of the white colonizers had first landed on them. Now there's 19,000 that live on the Northern Marianas, 19,000 Chamorro people. 65,000 of Chamorro ancestry live on Guam, and they're primarily Austronesian. So the island used to be possessed by Japan and Germany. So Japan and Germany used to, let's say, nomenclature. Commonwealth is used by the 4 constituent states of the United States of America in their official full state names. So it's the Commonwealth of Kentucky. And I always hear people in Kentucky say, well, you know, it's the Commonwealth. That's the reason why you get fucked. Yeah, because it's the state. Commonwealth and state are synonymous. And it doesn't have any legal meaning when it comes to Massachusetts, Pennsylvania, Virginia, and Kentucky. There's 4 states that are commonwealths in their name: Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, Commonwealth of Virginia, Commonwealth of Massachusetts. But the reason why they're called commonwealths is because they emphasize that they have a government based on the common consent of the people, as opposed to one legitimated through their earlier royal colony status that was derived from the monarch of Great Britain. So Great Britain, right, the royal charter was by the king, and these Virginia, there's only 2 of the territories that call themselves commonwealths, and that's the Northern Mariana Islands and Puerto Rico. So Puerto Rico is a commonwealth, which actually has 3.4 million people compared to Kentucky's 4.3 million, so they only 1 million less. Versus the Marianas Islands, which is just less than 100,000. I want to say like 50,000 or so. And the legal definition of what a commonwealth means for the Northern Marianas Islands is that it's self-governing under a constitution of its adoption, and whose right to self-government will not be unilaterally withdrawn by Congress. So the Northern Mariana Islands they're a powerful tour de force, right? They got 11 delegates they're sending to the Democratic Convention in Pennsylvania at the Wells Fargo Convention Convention on July. One is 54,000 is the population. So Northern Marianas Islands there's a pagan island. I guess Pagan Island is one of the Northern Mariana Islands. The pagan island. The minimum wage was $3.05 in the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands. Lasted from 1997 to 2007, $3 an hour. Then eventually, the President Bush signed minimum wage laws to increase 50 cents every year in 2007, and in 2014 it was $6.05. So I guess it would be about $7. It's about right where we're getting paid right now. Beforehand, there was sweatshops, child labor, child prostitution, forced abortions. This is the type of shit that we were allowing in one of our territories. I mean, agricultural production, primarily tapioca, cattle, coconuts, breadfruit, tomatoes, melons, exist, but they're relatively unimportant in the economy. Non-native islanders are not allowed to own land, but they can lease it, which is pretty incredible. So only those who have been born on the Northern Mariana Islands can own the Northern Mariana Islands. The infrastructure, some things, the U.S. Postal Service provides the mail, and they have their own, zip codes, TV stations, and yeah. So Northern Mariana Islands is offering 11 delegates total. They're going to be voting on Saturday, 2 days from now, March the 12th. They have 6 Democratic delegates and 5 elitist, super pooper shitty